But first, let's talk about internetworking. What is a router? A router is a device that forwards data packets along networks. Computers can only directly communicate with other computers on the same network, meaning other computers that have the same network ID, so logically they're on the same network, and then physically are connected on the same network. If you have two computers that are on different networks, participate with different network IDs, and are physically separated, then you need to have a router to connect those two networks. And with the use of that router, you have internetworking. You see a word within the word there that sounds familiar? Internet. The internet is working. This is how the internet works, by taking all of these individual networks and allowing them to communicate with one another to create the World Wide Web, or the internet. So just to kind of continue on here with the details of a router, not only is it a device that forwards these data packets along networks, but it will be connected to at least two networks, commonly two LANs or WANs, or a WAN and a LAN, or two LANs or two WANs, or how about a LAN, a local area network, and its ISP, which stands for Internet Service Provider. How about its network? Okay, so real commonly you have a router connecting your local area network with the internet. The routers are located at gateways. Now, not gateways as in the protocol translator we talked about in a previous lesson, but the place where two or more networks connect. Okay, so they're the gateway from one network to another. A router is the critical device that keeps the data flowing between the networks and keeps the networks connected to the internet. As a matter of fact, that term gateway, I mentioned earlier something called a default gateway. And the default gateway is actually the IP address that points to the router that a computer will use to communicate outside of its own network. When data is sent between two locations on a network, or from one network to a second network, the data is always seen and directed to the correct location by the router. Some examples might be, you could simply have right up at the top here, we just have two simple networks, but they have different logical network IDs. You need the router to connect them. Or maybe you have your office and then a router is, you love how that router, I have it illustrated, the router's like a monster, it's a beast, it's huge here. Well, I did that to represent the importance of the router. Obviously, a router is not bigger than your entire office building, but it's how important it is to the network. It's the main gateway that connects the office to the internet, or maybe your home to the internet. You'll notice it says cable modem or DSL router. This would be like your typical generic Linksys router or Netgear router, D-Link router. There's a number of them out there. Or you can even have a situation where you have an office connected to a router, which then talks to another router, which connects to another office. Okay, so in a WAN environment, okay, where maybe the two offices are spread out into different locations, they can talk to one another by having these routers that can get them from one office network to the other. Here's another example of kind of putting it all together instead of just giving individualized examples. Look at all the different routers all over the place. You have the different networks within the main office, and then a router that connects it to the internet, as well as a router that connects the main office to a branch office, gets the branch office also directly connected to the internet, another branch office that's all by itself and only connected to the internet, and then maybe your home connected to the internet. A router is always that gateway point to another network or to the internet.